We had a big move on Tuesday. We had a big move yesterday. So we do want to be a little cautious going into today, expecting some possible some chop, okay? Especially at the open, we might see some chop. So just keep that in mind. If you're wanting to size down and go for quicker profit targets today, i.e., kind of like a 15 to a 20% scalp instead of only selling half your position or a quarter of your position up front, kind of selling the whole thing almost. Nothing wrong with that, in my opinion, right? There's nothing wrong with that. I'll say it out loud, obviously, for the trade that I do end up choosing and entering. But I am more than likely going to be selling 3/4, so 75% of my position on any trade I take today, unless it's Tesla's breakout to the downside here. That's the only thing I can see being a clean move with a lot of room. Like I could see this flushing pretty well. But everything else, yeah, I'll probably be selling the majority of it on that first 15% push. And ideally, if it's a strong push, when it's at 15% profit or 15 points on NQ, by the time I've actually clicked sell market, ideally it'll be at 20%, right? That's the goal with it moving quickly. So that is what I'll be keeping in mind for today. Now, let's get going over this watch list here. So NQ, QQQ, it's at my short level right now. Let me tell you why this is a short level. We have this 4-hour level. If we start to fail this 4-hour level, that's why I'm looking to go short, because then in my opinion, it's proving to us a failure of this order block. Remember this order block yesterday? I went over it like 6,000 times of us staying. As long as we could stay above this, I was bullish on the day, right, guys? So that's why my thesis for today is if we fail that order block, we can't get above it, which we're seeing right now we can't, and we fail this 4-hour level, we are more than likely going to see a pretty decent flush, okay? You got at least 50 points of room to that next key level. So it's quite a ways away, and that pre-market low. So that would be roughly 50 points, around 50% profit on QQQ if they move decently. And again, that's what I think that would be a perfect trade if we hit the full 50 points, right? Even if you do scale out the majority at 20, and then you just sell the remaining position around 45 points, 45%, that's a solid trade. Now, we do want to keep in mind when we're looking at the, get to the calendar here. So I was expecting more of a move in the pre-market, but I guess that's, we've had a sharp decline and then a sharp recovery. So it has been a big move. We just haven't moved very far from yesterday's close. But we will have some more news coming up in about 30 minutes after the open, but then everything after that will be pretty much after our session's already done. But we've got a lot of news tomorrow, so that's where I'm kind of seeing we might chop, we might consolidate, because we've had super aggressive pre-market movements, right? We dumped from 25,830 all the way down to 25,660, so almost a 200-point dump. Then we've recovered it up to 811, and now we're hesitating at 811, right? So that is really what I'm concerned about right now. In terms of my 4-hour levels, again, I got 811 here to the upside that it's rejecting, which is a 4-hour level. And then I have this 740 down here on NQ. That's for NQ. But this is this zone. And this pre-market, we've been chopping in it. In the pre-market, we've been chopping within this zone. So just want to keep that in mind as we're watching this price action play out, okay? Breakout for calls at 25,823. So above this, just in case we are to reject that zone. I don't want to try to take a breakout in here and then it completely, within this chop zone, and then it completely reverses. Okay. And then 623.78 for longs. Breakout for puts, again, if we fail that 4-hour key level on QQQ, but I'll be watching a failure of 623 and a failure of 25,785, basically, for an entry for puts. All right. And you can rock that with a 15-point stop loss. I wouldn't do more than a 20. Okay. Check it out. I would not do more than a 20. A 20 would be right there. 15 would be right there, basically at 803. And that is the ideal setup right there. That's the ideal setup. That's where I could see the move flushing to without really encountering any resistance. And then down here, very similar to yesterday, whenever we were, I think it was like 40-ish points in profit. And I was like, hey, I can definitely see a pullback. And then I said, sellers are hitting the tape. And then sure enough, the thing pulled back like 35 points, right? So, but that's what I could see playing out for that short trade. All right. AMD. I like the breakout of AMD for the upside if it gets some strength. All right. 211.6. So just above that pre-market high. 211.6. I'll be watching for a breakout for calls. This has room to 213 and then 216.48. All right. But I definitely want to be cautious at that 213 level, top of the consolidation range from yesterday. MU. I still like the strength. I love how it's holding here. Yesterday, solid trade for anyone that ended up taking that 340 break that I was mentioning. Today, I'm watching for a bounce of 336.5, or I'll be watching for a breakout of 342.5 to the upside. All right. And then Tesla. I mean, look, Tesla's been, it's been weak, right? It's been weak. We can't really deny that the last few days. So I'm really, really liking this breakout for puts to the downside today. I just need to see the appropriate volume come in on this for that snap through, because that's a very strong support level. I don't know how many of you remember that. I'll check out Google. I'll look at it. I don't know how many of you remember this level on Tesla, 4426.6. This is a very stubborn, very strong key level on Tesla. Can you put that back? Sure. Try to get back there. There you go. This is a very strong level on Tesla. Okay. So keep that in mind. That's why we have to be careful watching for that volume. We need to let the volume paint the picture for us. If you just blindly enter into puts at the open here, at that support level, there's a high I've seen Tesla do it many times, guys. Literally just what it did in the pre-market. I've seen it do that many times. It looks super weak coming to the level. And you're like, oh man, this is going to flush. This is going to be great. And then what does it do? Massive bounce. Massive bounce. And those are, some people blow accounts like that, man. Some people, they just get this bias for some reason, and they will hold it to the end of time. Sorry, I'm trying to make sure. No, I want to do a window capture. There we go. Wonderful. All right. Let me go over the Google for you. You wanted to check out Google. Which ones did I have Google on? I always forget which cell I had Google on for my levels. Okay. Oh, that pre-market high is really tough level. Okay. Nice bounce off of that level, 296.4. Okay, Google. It is very strong. This is very strong. It's diverging from the market. But just keep in mind of this hourly level we just saw. You just saw with me. You saw me chart it out. That's a tough level. And that's plenty of room. Going up to 332.30, that is plenty of room. I don't want you to think that's not enough room for profit. It's not worth the trade. It totally is. That could make a lot of money in Google. That could be like 100% profit right there. Just keep in mind though that I think it's a great risk reward ratio trade. Great risk reward ratio trade. I think if the market, because right now it's strong without the market. I think if the market gets strong off the open, this Google trade's gonna, excuse me, it's gonna be wonderful. You'll see in a second here. When I put Google up here, the levels won't be there. Really, it's gonna be different. Yeah, it's because the cells, each cell has its own memory for the levels for some reason. That's really the only level we care about. Yep. Okay. All right. I'll leave Google up there instead of Apple since we're not looking at Apple for you guys. I would just go one strike out the money. I would do 335 calls. All right. Screen record. All right. You have this, whoever asked for it. That would have been, this is what my thesis is if we do sell. That's the furthest I want to go. And you're asking about it. All right. Make sure your broker is unlocked and ready to go. You could do the 330 or the 335s. 330 calls would probably be better on Google. QQQ could do 624 calls or the 621 puts. MU as well. Damn. All right, here we go. I'm ready on a lot of things here. MU and Google. I like Google too. I'm in these on Google. Gosh, this is moving really fast on Google, guys. Three. Excuse me. It literally went. That went so fast. I don't think that's something you guys could have traded. It already sold my full position. It literally went from 240 to 325 in a heartbeat. That went so fast. This would have stopped you out by now. These contracts moved super, super fast. I'm watching QQQ here. I'm in QQQ puts, guys. NQ shorts, QQQ puts. 621 puts. Fill is $1.15 a contract. Looking to see if we can flush down to that 4-hour level there. Tesla as well. If you're in on Tesla, I would be trimming now on Tesla, actually. This is where I would trim on Tesla, guys. That would have been solely taking a break of the pre-market. Roughly here on the 425 contracts, 425 puts, gone from 410 all the way to 560. Trimming here on NQ, guys. NQ, QQQ, take your trim. $1.15 a contract, up there to $1.35 for that first trim. Peak trim so far. Peak trim on NQ. Let me draw out this Tesla trade here. If you took, the only way you could have been profitable on Google is basically if you entered ahead of me or at the same time as me. That was so fast. It was so fast. I couldn't even adjust anything. All right, remember, if we fail this 4-hour level, we have a lot of room. We have a lot of room if we fail this level. NVIDIA is showing a lot of weakness here as well. Tesla's coming back. Just got to be careful with this on Tesla. Nice. So the market here. Good job on the market. Come on, dump this thing for us, man. Remember, we want to be majority out of this trade already, just in case it does bounce aggressively. We're not looking for a super big move here. Tesla stopped me out at entry. We're not looking for a super big move here. God, Tesla flushed that support level so aggressively. Look at that. Right to my 424.4 level, and now it's bouncing it. That's incredible. Incredible bounce. Tesla's doing its complete own thing here. Google looks really weak too, but it's just following everything else. MU, AMD, all of these things. It's just following them. Remember, I would be majority out already of your QQQ and Q trade. We're just looking, if we get some more follow through, great. If not, that's totally fine. Nice. All right. Taking the second trim here on QQQ, guys. Second trim. Beautiful trade. 50 points right here, guys. This is 50 points profit on NQ, QQQ. I am now going to put my stop loss at entry. My stop loss is now at entry on NQ, QQQ, just so everyone's aware. I'm now going to target this 4-hour level to here to the downside. Can't even catch this candle. If you're not in QQQ, I'll try to give you a re-entry, but don't chase this, please. Please don't be a, you know who I'm talking to if you're thinking about it. Don't chase this. I'll try to find you a re-entry, okay? I always do. As of now, what I would love to see is a pullback roughly up here to the 720 region or right here, and then we can see if it can continue to flush, okay? Remember, again, I can't remind you guys enough, this is a nice area to be majority out of this trade, okay? It's a really nice spot to be majority out of this trade. This is an incredible trade so far. Incredible trade. Gone from $1.15 to $1.77 a contract. Remember, this is an order block right here on QQQ. It might bounce this aggressively. Where I would completely wipe any shorts from your mind is if it reclaims this 4-hour level on NQ. If we break above 740, I would be patient. I would be very patient. I wouldn't be looking to jump in anything too fast. 740 is our last line of resistance. Okay. That's our last line of resistance right there. All right. It's showing us signs of continuation here. Let's see if we can start to flush some more. If this can flip red and form a new low, we're good. We'll be good. But that's going to be the hard part for the market right now. I got the 621 puts, Kelvin. I said it in the pre-market. You guys don't need to rely on me for strikes. You know that, right? I usually just go one strike out the money. That's it. It's not a complicated thing. I'm not saying that to be rude. I'm saying that so you aren't relying on me to give you the strike price. Strike prices are not complicated. All right, this is pulling back aggressively here. We need this to continue the dump for us. If anyone's wondering, I had my take profit set today for 25%. That's why Google sold me so fast. There was nothing I could do about it. There we go. Thank you. Keep going. I would love to see this keep going for everybody. Is this recording? Good. I recorded that on the order book as well for you guys. So I'll have that I'll have 2 more in the boot camp today. I uploaded 1 last night in the boot camp, and I'm going to have 2 more today. I'm going to have January 6th, and then today, January 8th, trade. And again, the laptop is over here, so I'm sorry. Apologies about the audio quality, but at least you can hear me entering the trade, and it's all good, and it's on a completely different system, so there's no lag, nothing. Because this computer is already doing a lot of work. This is recording a bunch of different stuff. All right, it's bouncing off that 4-hour key level here on QQQ. We have hit $1.94 a contract. I personally was waiting for a little bit more. That's why you didn't hear me say I was trimming. I was waiting for a little bit more. I wanted to see this 4-hour level on NQ, so that's what I'm waiting for. You see NVIDIA is also bouncing this 188 down here. You see how it's bouncing this so strongly? That's what I'm a little bit concerned about right now. Look at SPY. SPY's moving like absolute. I'm trying to be professional here. SPY's looks terrible. So good job sticking with QQQ today. I mean, it's not like I would ever trade SPY, but I want this to get weak. If this flips red on SPY, we should be set. We should be set. That's the last piece of the puzzle we need right now. SPY needs to get weaker because it's too strong. Come on, there we go. Sell with us. Sell with us. I'm going to trim here. QQQ. $1.98 a contract, guys. I'm trimming right now. $2 contract. Boom. That's exactly what I was talking about. Trimming into the strength. Right? See, I went to sell at $1.95 and it fills me at $2.03. So nice. I only have, same thing as yesterday. I only have 100 contracts left on QQQ. So very small position size left over. Going to be rocking and rolling here with this thing. I want to see this, it's roughly 85% profit. I want to see this go for about 150% before I take another trim. Okay. SPY looks like it's playing games. That's for sure. Yeah. But QQQ has done that before while SPY looks really pretty. So I don't want to pretend like, we haven't seen that before ourselves. All right. Remember this point right here, 4-hour key level, high probability we can bounce this range. Okay. Very high probability we can bounce this range. Anyone that whenever you're not in a trade with me, and let's say you're just you don't really like the market open trades, guys, whenever you see price do something like this and flush aggressively into a 4-hour level, once it starts to get a little overextended, meaning let's say 10 minutes straight of just red, literally just red, there's a high probability that when it hits a 4-hour level, it's going to give you some type of a bounce. Now, you don't know if it's going to be a 20-point bounce or a 200-point bounce. You don't know, but there's nothing wrong with giving that a shot if you're not in the trade and you're particularly a fan of reversal trades, right? Let me see how much this bounced. We can use that as an example. So this went from 670 to 701. That's 30 points. That's 30 points. A lot of you guys are totally happy with 30 points. A lot of you guys, unfortunately, just teasing, but a lot of you guys, 30 points is where you're happy, right? So don't underestimate using my levels, my 4-hour levels for your confluence on NQ, for your confluence of like, hey, look, they're in shorts. And let's say you're like, I'm not a fan of these pullbacks. They're a little bit too aggressive. I don't really want to jump back in with these guys. I'll try to see what happens at this bounce here. And look at that. Look, it's trying to do it again. But you can see usually the first reaction is the strongest reaction, usually for a bounce level. But that's 30 points, man. You'd be shocked how you can make profit in the opposite direction of us many times over, as long as you're using good levels and you can read price action properly. Okay. All right. 100 points would be right there. There we go. All right, let's take this third trim here on QQQ, everybody. This is the third one. $2.70 a contract. Wow. $2.70 a contract. Absolutely. This would be a nuclear trade. This is a pretty nuclear trade because it's pretty quick to profit. So great to see. Great to see this play out. $1.15 on the entry, sitting at about 137% profit right now. If your fill was roughly with mine, 137% profit down there at the peak. All right. So I didn't wait for 150%, but I'm just cautious of this level. And we're coming down into this NQ order block. You guys see this right here? We got another order block down here for support. We might see another bounce off this level, just covering my risk. I have 50 contracts left at this point. 50 contracts left. You guys are funny. Guys, I think everything's done. I think everything's done. Tesla was the strongest one. And it did. Remember, I was trying to warn you guys in the pre-market, but this support area is a strong area. Now, don't get me wrong. It clearly didn't care. It didn't care about my level whatsoever. It cared about my level down here at 424.4. So we had a good trim down there, but wow, what an aggressive bounce it had off that level, right? I mean, that was astronomical. I thought Tesla was going to have a lot more room once we broke that level, but it just didn't care. It didn't care. I mean, that was an incredible bounce. I mean, you guys probably don't care, but that was really very surprising to me today to see Tesla do that. Google, again, I'm doing this based off of my profit, but I totally understand if you followed my signal on Google, I totally understand you could have been red. Okay. Don't come at me because you might be red on Google. I totally get it. It was just way too quick. It was way too quick. I totally get it. I never saw my position. That's how fast it was. I clicked buy. I looked over. It said 0. It already sold me for profit. That's how fast that moved. I'm going to wait for 200% profit now. That's what I'm waiting for. So we're at 317 a contract. I mean, it's just going to dump, guys. I trust me. I would love to get a re-entry for some of you, but it's irresponsible to chase a trade like this. And I need some type of pullback to give you guys a good entry. So I'm not a big fan of signaling losing trades. So this is 180% here. So it's pretty close to 200. I'm assuming 200 to be at that next 4-hour level here. I'm going to leave NQ big. I'll leave NQ big. Hey, Justin, that's a really good game plan, man. Doing paper trades in your head. It's a great, really good way to avoid over trading. And it's a solid way for you to just get some mental reps in. Like, let's say you were like, all right, James said 740 is the last point of resistance. And then let's say you saw it come up and then you saw it flip green to red. And you're like, ooh, I kind of like this for the entry. I would get in here. And you did that in your head. Obviously, it would have worked. That's good. That's really good. You are becoming better by doing something like that. So, all right. So this is 160 points so far at the peak down here, guys. This is not abnormal. The bounce it's having is not abnormal. We've just been dumping all morning. So very, very aggressively. I mean, this is a massive dump. So don't be shocked about this bounce, especially when it's really close to that 4-hour key level. This was 137% at the peak down here. Nice trade. Nice trade. What gave me the bias to go short? Well, I went over it in the pre-market. Were you here in the pre-market? No. Okay. I'm going to explain this for you because I'm being nice, but you need to show up for the pre-market. Okay. You're going to learn a lot. Trust me. in the pre-market, what I was going over was I said that I'm concerned about if we stay below this order block right here. That's what I was concerned about. I told everybody I'm going to be biased for shorts if we stay below this. And the last level I'll be concerned about is this 4-hour level, 623. And the God, I'm getting mixed up. I'm gonna have to look at my watch list now. So many darn levels all over the place. If we fail the 4-hour level of 25, 788, and 623. So right here. Okay. That's what I was concerned about. Once we broke through that, I don't really know where the entry was on NQ, guys, by the way. If someone can tell me where'd you see me called out at? Because I just entered in the contracts and then completely my mind just blanked out because I was just looking at QQQ. I don't remember what NQ was. I drew it there, but I don't know if it was there. But basically, once I saw the failure of that 4-hour level, I wanted extra confirmation because I have seen many, many times, I've seen us slip a 4-hour level like this, just a little bit, right? Like maybe 20 cents. And then I see those buy orders start to come in. And I've seen it happen to where it happens right when I get in, you know, and I'm obviously don't want to do that. So that's why I was just waiting for a little bit extra confirmation. So once I saw some solid orders start to come in on the tape, that's what gave me the confidence to take that entry. Okay. And the reason as well, someone else asked this question earlier, the reason I didn't put my stop loss to entry right away is simply because if you guys heard me saying, I said, look, if we can slip this 4-hour level, verbatim, I said, if we can slip this 4-hour level, we got a lot of room down, right? So you can see case in point here. If you sold quick for 30 points, hey, that's what I was saying in the pre-market. Nothing wrong with that whatsoever, okay? Nothing wrong with that whatsoever. There was a lot of support levels here on the way down. We had to bust through in order to get here. If you asked me in the pre-market if I thought this would happen, I would probably tell you no 8 out of 10 times. So now, did I expect us to get to this 4-hour level without any resistance? Yeah, but good job, Michael. So you basically got in where we planned on getting in at, but you had no hesitation, basically. That's a really good entry. Yes, it is trying to reject 671 right now. Sorry, I was reading the questions. Yeah, I'm just going to look at Webull, my contract, where that fill was, and use that. All right. Yeah, that probably looks about right because there was a little bit of drawdown. This is probably in this range right here, between 55 and 67. That's where the entry was for NQ. 60. Okay. All right. Yeah, somewhere within here. Sorry, I'll try to do better about that next time. I was so focused on QQQ. All right. Still haven't made a new low yet. We're just waiting here. Trying to see if we can continue this selling pressure to the downside, really. Sitting at about 160 points, full profit right now. 164 points is that next key level. We have to see, though, this next 5-minute candle will paint a big picture. So we have 2.5 minutes left on this candle. For those of you trying to cut out really fast, if we close above the 4-hour level on this candle, this trade's probably over. It's probably going to do a full recovery. If we can stay below this 4-hour level on this next 5-minute candle, my thesis as of right now is going to be we'll probably see a slow but continuation sell-off. So, but this candle is really, I think it's going to paint the picture. Well, the reason I'm deducing this is because of this order block right here on NQ that we're bouncing. It's trying to hold this range. It's also respecting that 4-hour level of 60 to 672, which, yes, we can see that. But I'm basically just trying to see which level has more active buyers or sellers, right? Whichever one has more sellers or more buyers, it's going to cause more volume to come in, have everyone else follow suit, and continue that move. Tesla. Tesla might snap through this pretty aggressively here. Something worth watching for in your head. It's moving with the market. What's that? Yeah, right here. This might have gotten more profit on Google, but 25% is what I had my take profit at, and that's where it sold me. So that's why I'm putting that there. All right, we got 30 seconds. It looks like it wants to recover this 4-hour level. So we will see here. I don't want to make the same mistake I did yesterday with my runners. So if we close above that 4-hour level, I'm going to sell 40 of my 50 contracts, and then I'm just going to leave 10 for a complete break even stop loss. Just because we're so deep in profit, I don't want to give it all back. It felt I'm not gonna lie, it felt pretty crappy yesterday watching my look at that. Nice rejection of 621 to the T. It still looks strong though. I'm still concerned. I'm not super pumped about this, but it's a nice rejection. My main concern here, look, guys, we keep bouncing this support zone. We keep bouncing it. And this is a tough area. This is a no trade zone right now. We've got to see where it wants to go because it's just so tight of a range with where it's rejecting. Because it's rejecting 670 and it's bouncing 624, right? So it's pretty tough right now. You could play pinball with this range. You could play reversals, but at the same time, just have to think of the risk to reward ratio. You basically have to enter only at the support or the resistance and have like a 10-point stop loss, basically. Nvidia with a big dump today too. That's definitely the catalyst for if you guys are wondering why NQ is so weak compared to SPY, it's because of Nvidia. That's how much strength Nvidia has with the market. It's basically given up all of yesterday's gains. All right, we're finally failing this order block. I'll have a lot of confidence in this if we can actually sell through. Sorry. Oh. Okay. So we've held 671. We're now selling through. Really good respect of the 671 level. I'm not going to lie though. I don't know if I ever would have entered on something like that. That would have been pretty scary. If you entered on that, if like that was your retest to get into puts, you're a really good trader. To me, that was pretty sketchy because it was very strong as it was approaching this level. You can see those 612 on 25, 612, and then on QQQ, my 618.7 level. It's forming as quite a strong resistance. Or I'm sorry, support right now. I'm starting to get concerned now. We're just going to consolidate, you guys. And obviously, for someone like me with options contracts, it's not ideal because at some point I do have to cut them. And these are big candles. Don't underestimate these. I mean, just this rejection in the last 10 minutes, it's gone from 670 all the way down to 604. It's a 66 point drop. Okay, let's start going over some of these questions while this trades out. Rob, I said it out loud. I was pretty clear about it. I think it was when we were about 50 points in profit. It was down here. That's when I moved my stop loss to entry. It was after the second trim. Once we broke that 4-hour level to the downside that aggressively, you don't want to choke yourself out of the trade. It's extremely foolish, because it's the market is showing you that, hey, we are so weak. We have so much selling pressure that, I mean, it doesn't matter. It wouldn't have come back to your entry anyway. But that's when you're telling yourself the market is so weak, it has so much selling pressure that it broke right through this 4-hour key level and it's closing below it with extreme strength. Oh, here we go. Now we actually got there. You go. Take your trim on NQ at least. QQQ, it's not really a difference for me. It's the same. The contracts are the same value, but on NQ you can trim now. 164 points. These contracts have lost a little bit of value, so they made no difference. They went up by 3 cents. All right, where's 200 points? That's what I'm going to go for next. 200 points profit. All right. Carlos, are you still in here? I don't know if he left already. Carlos, you did a very good job today, but I need you to listen to me carefully. You're a Marine, right? Okay. 40 accounts copy trading. I want you to take it slowly for the next 3 days, okay? Because right now, I'm sure you're on a high and your ego is all the way up here. I'm just trying to prevent you from crashing and burning. Right now, you're driving a Lamborghini and you're going 170 miles per hour, okay? You're doing very well, but I want you to be cautious, okay? Retain some of these profits. When you show up tomorrow, you don't need to trade all those accounts. You don't have to copy trade them all. You can try to stagger them. It's a really good strategy to stagger your prop firm accounts. That way, if you do blow one, it's not a big deal because you didn't blow all 40 at once or all 20 at once. But just to be more on the cautious side, and I would look at your overall weekly profits since you made so much today. And I would look that your mission tomorrow, literally your mission set is to retain at least 70% of your weekly profits. So right now, let's say between all of your prop firm accounts, let's say you're up 25,000 on the week. I want you to multiply that by 70%. So 25,000 times 0.70 or 70% of the calculator. And then that number, take the difference. That's how much you can lose tomorrow. It's just my opinion. That's a really good way to retain your profits not go on some crazy tilt because it's a Friday, everything, okay? Really good job today. Good job today, but I just want you to be careful. Because it's a lot of money. Do you have some good friends with you in the Marine Corps right now, Carlos? Some brothers? Make sure you cherish those guys too, man. I miss every single one of my everyone in the Marine Corps. I miss them all.